The reason why we even have this episode going on today is because I read an article like maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. It was on a mega church pastor that has just recently decided to take a sabbatical. And the reason being is that because he said, I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't have time to pull up the article, but he says, I'm empty. I can't keep on pouring into others when I'm empty. He brings up the fact that he's mentally exhausted. He's physically drained. And he's just spiritually feeling dead. He feels so separated from Christ. And he said the main reason was because of the work he called himself doing for Christ. Right. What do you have to say about that? What are your thoughts on that right there? Like needing to take the sabbatical. What are your thoughts on just needing rest when you're doing the work of the Lord?
I think it's essential. I think it's complicated, right? So,
because he's dealing with his spiritual health. Yeah, he is aware of his spiritual health.
Right. I think so. I'm not. Listen, I took a year sabbatical because I needed it. You know, I'll get into this later, but I fell into a deep depression, and that was like the sign saying stop. Okay, but looking back, I would say a lot of this is our fault. And I'll tell you why. It's because we've allowed the culture to dictate to us what we should do. What are some things that we have to have? Our minds are preoccupied with imagery and videos. Christians are making the mistake to feel so busy when all it is cultural influence and worldly mindsets that we've adopted. You know, we don't know how to put our phones down anymore.
Yo,
you know, we don't
real. Like we literally fall asleep with our phones in our hands.
You know, and I'm guilty of that too. You know,
when I say we, I'm talking about we,
right?
Like me included,
right? And that adds to the stress. That adds to the mind not being able to stop. You know, and you know, so I think that allowing the culture and the world to dump on us all these things that we think we should have, we then turn to the scriptures and feel that that's another thing I got to do. You know, ministry, that's more on my plate. You know, so pastors, I think, are guilty, and myself included, of being too preoccupied with things that have nothing to do with the main thing. So what I'm saying is I sympathize with pastors. I've been there. You know, I understand today's culture of church. It's different. You know, we fight off acceptance. We fight off, you know, so many things, you know, envy and all these things that we face as pastors that the world keeps trying to push on us, and even some of the people. You know, I think some church members are I'm not saying this about our church, but I think there are church members or churches that are poor at encouraging their pastors. You know,
you bring up a whole nother. That's so good.
You know what I mean? I think it happens. They feel like, okay, they're good. You know, they're working full time. That's not the case with me. But no, they're great. They're good. You know, it's their responsibility, you know, to check out on me. And it's like, well, no.
Encourage your leaders.
Yeah, I think it's the responsibility of the local church to pray for their pastors, man, to make sure that their pastors are doing good. When's the last time you asked your pastor, you know, how's your soul? You know, how can I pray for you? What can I do, you know, to lighten up the load? You know, how's your family? You know what I'm saying? I think that's important.
That's so true. I don't remember the last time I walked up to you and asked you, how can I pray for you?
Yeah, again, I'm not saying you're guilty of this.
No, I am. But I'm saying
I love art. Listen, I shout out to Kafia. If you don't know what Kafia is,
yeah, you've been shouting them out all day.
Christ Alone Fellowship, young adults. They came to our house and they did some good works. You know, and that blessed my soul, man. Yeah, I'm being taken care of well. You know, and they encourage me, and the church encourages me. So I'm encouraged, man. This season has been nothing but affirmation and blessing to us. You know, you and your wife, just family. You know, so. But I think in general, churches need to do better with asking those questions of the pastors. How's your soul? How can I help? How can I love you? How can I? So, yeah. Elizabeth Bryan says, can I go back to the concept of a sabbatical for a second? When taking a sabbatical, how do you avoid falling into the two-story view of truth that Nancy Pearcey talks about? You know what she means by that?
No, go ahead.
I don't either.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I was looking at
taking
David
a
Lee's
sabbatical. How do you avoid falling into the two-story view of truth? Be good for you to explain a little bit to us.
Yeah. I'm wondering who Nancy Pearcey is.
So she says the two-story view of truth is the mindset that we can divide life into the upper story, ministry, and lower story, anything else. So having a job as a mechanic, for example, isn't nearly as spiritual as being in a ministry position. Or that if you volunteer in your church, you're doing something more meaningful than if you volunteer in a secular place. So sorry for asking a confusing question. So if you're in ministry but take a sabbatical, how do you avoid that thinking that now I'm not doing active ministry, like switching off and not seeing every moment as a chance to see and savor Christ and glorify him? I'm not articulating this well. I'll link the book. It's paradigm shifting. Yeah.
No, I get it. Do you get that?
Yeah.
What do you say about that then?
I think we've over.
Let me say like this. Maybe this will help out.
Yeah, I was going to.
I think that we put things in a box sometimes, and it's like, this is sacred, this is secular.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if this isn't being done, if something's not being done for the church per se, or have the stamp of Christ on it per se, we look at it as secular. And then if this does have, this is done in the church, we look at it as sacred. And we look at one and the other, your good works for the church and your good works for the world, as if they're separate from one another.
Yeah.
They come from the same spirit.
Yeah.
They're talked about in the same Bible.
Yeah.
We got to stop looking at it like that.
Yeah,
now, it's great to serve your brothers and your sisters in Christ, but it's also great to serve those who are not your brethren.
Yeah, I think we need to look, like Jesus said, the world is the field. And we've called to work that field. And working that field looks differently. Some people are called to the marketplace, which means ministering in their full-time jobs, so business owners ministering through their businesses. So that doesn't mean a business owner is not a pastor. Let's say, I'm not saying the pastor can't be a business owner. What I'm saying is you could be a business owner out there and actually minister to people and do ministry work that way.
Yeah.
So even through your business, you could do it. And that's no less than someone working full-time in ministry,
right?
Having a ministry position. And so it's all, the field is, it all needs to be worked, and it's all good work.
Yeah.
I think intent, actually, I would say your intent in what you do is important to God. Whether you do ministry or, you're out there having a vocation or whatever it is, the intent is always behind, or actually the intent is what God is most concerned with.
Yeah.
Why you do what you do. Not what you do, but why you do what you do.